Another question I get asked is about the hinge positioning. So this is basically just for butt hinges, not for concealed hinges or anything like that. It's only when you place it up against the door and you want that remaining bit of timber left on the edge. And it could be 3mm or 5mm or 6mm depending on the thickness of your door. It's just a guide again. If it's off 1mm, it doesn't matter. You just got to learn how to use it. Test cut always. And then at least you know you've got to adjust back or forth 1mm or so to set it right, and then forget it. All your doors can be the same then. It's not for the door jamb, because obviously you've got to leave another 2.5mm gap on the hinge side before you hit the door stop. It's only for the door edge where you use this hinge marking position. Once you get used to the jig, you don't even look at it really, you sight it by eye. I always sight it by eye, give it a test cut. If it's off, you know, pencil mark on the door a line, cut short of it, and then you know exactly you got to move 2mm or 1mm or 0.5mm towards the line. And then you set it and it's done. Sometimes people say to me, well, I nicked the jig with the cutter. I says, what, the aluminium part, like the rail? And she says, yeah, I hit that when I was like doing a hinge or something, I went too deep. That doesn't matter, it's only aluminium, it won't damage your cutter. I've cut a lot of this down for the electric strike, the ES20 I think it was. So to do that wide lip that comes off the edge of the jamb means I have to plunge deeper, 20mm, and yes, the cutter will hit that. But it just meant I took another 5mm deeper, and I just took 5mm and took it all off there. Doesn't matter, it doesn't affect the jig, doesn't affect any performance. You just don't want to nick these parts, and you shouldn't really with a bush guide or a copy ring. I have heard of some people nicking it, but I'm pretty sure they used a trimmer that wasn't in a plunge base. And so just like all those other jigs on the market where they use flush cut bits, and everyone's pulling it out at the last minute, they all nick the perspex and they have to replace the whole jig. I always say stop the machine before you pull it away, but with a plunge router, don't pull the router back without releasing the plunge, because the cutter will be exposed, even if you've got a copy ring. So you always release it, pull it away, you can check what you're doing, put it back on. So that's why I always recommend plunge routing as the best method. It's safer, and you just don't damage your jig or your templates. Blanks are gold. They're good for everything. Once you get used to just positioning it up and down, using the reference points here and taking notes of where to position it. One of the great features about the blanks, I've made them from 12mm up until the biggest size I could do was probably 38 or 40 before it gets too thin on the sides here and I can't do it. So you can cover a lot of hardware installation work just by using blank templates. Carrying the whole set can get you out of trouble when you have unexpected hardware to install. You just whip it out, what do I need, 18 or 26, and it'll just help you with everything. It's so universal. The question I get asked about mortise locks is the faceplate is too long for the jig. The template doesn't route out for the whole length of it. So yes, that is one issue, but that just means you have to position the jig twice. So I have a marking on the templates usually, where if you work by a center line, you move it up to the first mark, which will be the top cutout, and then you move it down to the second mark on the center line to do the bottom cutout. Even using blank templates, I'll just sight 2mm from the top of the cutout on a pencil mark on the door, do a test cut, and then once you get it perfectly at the top, you write down the reference point where it hits the center line. So you could be, say, 20. So to do the top of the cut is 20, and then you move it down, and it could be 20 again when you move it down. And then you can do repetitive cuts after that using any type of blank template. People say, well, we install a lot of Michelin locks or something that's not very common, and I don't have the template for it. Well, that's easy. Just get a 22mm blank template, or 23 or 24, and that way you can use the method I just mentioned. Cut the top first, cut the bottom first, and you don't have to get a custom made template every time.